to express my sincere appreciation for the hearty welcome and to share with you some thoughts I may have had since meeting you on the last time. I've just returned from St. Louis, Missouri, and Detroit. The brothers met me at the airport and brought me in. And so I think the best place is to start from that point. I have a very important announcement, of course, which I endorse sincerely. There are a group of heaven standing around. If you brothers wondering about what is heaven, you may be looking for it in the air. You may be looking for it in the Bible. But heaven is your mama. Heaven is between a black woman's legs, the womb from whence you came, and there's no reason why black women should stand while black men sit. So please give the sisters a place to sit. I'll spot around there and see some of the sisters, see some of heaven, and then just call them over where you are. And you stand up, don't let the sitter have to sit in your lap. I mean, it's be nice, but we'll prefer them to sit in the chair. I need to say something that has seemed to be for the last year, or a little bit better than the last year. Each place I go, and it has happened this weekend, I'm associated with the Nile Valley fiasco, the Nile Valley, something that they had in Georgia, Atlanta last year. I want to make that very clear. I had nothing whatsoever to do with the integrated Nile Valley, whatever, in Atlanta, Georgia, last year, September or October, whatever time it was. Truly, it was stated on radio, on television, it was written in papers, it was advertised by the group that I had to do, and it was the conference that I called. I want to make every one of you listening to me, to make it very clear, I had nothing at all to do with that conference. And I think it should be the last time I should have to say that. I don't call integrated conferences. Because I don't need any white man to endorse me. I call a conference of the Nile Valley. Approximately 2 years ago, I called for a conference. It was in the Mount Zion Lutheran Church. I was speaking, no, I wasn't, I was attending a lecture that day, sponsored by the First World Alliance, and I asked that the parties involved have a Nile Valley conference, and I specified among African people only, African people participating in that conference. And I made it very clear. As a matter of fact, I reiterated 3 times that the participant must be African people. Now, if some people make mistakes that African people also come from Europe, that is their problem. And if they need this constant certification by Europeans and feel that nothing we have can be conducted without the benefit of Europeans, they should not blame me for that or have me indicted for it. But I need to say it for the last time. I had nothing to do with it then. I intended not to have anything to do with it. As a matter of fact, I didn't know when they planned it. I didn't know when they were selling their tickets with my name all over the newspaper. I knew nothing about it. I found out when my name was already propagandized everywhere that I was supposed to be participating. And after I sent a letter to the persons involved stating that they must cease or desist or I'll take appropriate action to stop them, It is then that they stopped using my name in the paper and in the advertisement, but continue to use it in the radio. When I persisted on that also, it is then that they decided to take other action of evasion and stated that I was to attend the conference, but I couldn't because I was very ill, and they didn't know if I would survive. And then that didn't work, and they said I was stuck in Egypt and could not arrive for the conference. Neither of these things are true. The fact is, I didn't want any association with the Europeans they bring, and the people who attended it, and the people who put it on. I would say again, I don't want no association with them now. The fact is that I don't consider them Africans. So it must be made clear. I don't think it could be any doubt. Anyone who had anything to do with the establishment of the conference, I do not consider an African and will not associate with. I wouldn't even give them the privilege of coming to my toilet to be in there. So those people who participated in it, started it, and have to have Europeans, I have nothing to do with it at all. So the news could get back, and I don't give a damn what they think about it, and that's it. There would be no association with me and them. It is time that African people be responsible to African people for their malfeasance. It was questioned as to my motive for not attending, my selfish motives. And it was stated that if I meant that well for African people, then I would have participated. Unfortunately, the individual stated that forgot that I did not start my attitude about Africa in 1984. It was in 1936 when I wrote, and 1938 when I published my first book on Africa. One has to remember, I was 18 and a half years of age when I found out that there was no woman like a black woman. I've never touched any other woman since and before but a black woman. All of my children are by black women. 3 black women. I got to make it very clear. I married all 3. The first one died, left me with 6. The second one died, left me with 4 more. And my present wife left, have 2. I've been married. Well, and I've been married to this present wife 38 years and going another few more. And if this one should die, and I don't want it to happen, I will get me another black wife within 6 months. But I don't think that you all should have any difficulty in understanding me. So when black folks question, when black folks make statement, you could say without any hitch, you know that isn't so. Because I'm letting you know who the person that you're dealing with. And that's from 1938 to now. I have yet to go to bed with my first white woman. And if I didn't go before, you know I'm not going now. I don't want to get AIDS. Don't want AIDS. And so they never have to tell you that a monkey bit any black person that caused me to get AIDS. So if these things being brought out the way, I'm trying to clear the way so that you could see. Now I can't say that for many black folk who have gone out and trying to get back home. I haven't gone out there married to no white woman and trying to get back home. So those who line on me must understand I am not coming back to be reunited with black folks. I've never gone out and left black folks. You see, so this must be cleared. So when they're questioning my attitude towards the Nile Valley, I think that I have as much right to be about the Nile Valley since it is that I have been an African from the beginning to the present and hope to be that to the day I die. I could now take time in dealing with you about Africa and the Nile Valley in particular. There's another tour we are going on the 22nd of December, and that's, people are even questioning, why are we going to the Nile Valley constantly and not to Nigeria or Ethiopia or Liberia or any of the other places in West Africa. That should be quite common knowledge. I am not going to the Nile Valley by accident. It is by intent. I do not go to West Africa by accident. That too is by intent. We have 1,000, probably 1 million African writers. African writers on the West African situation. Every time you look around and see a black man or a woman writing, it's about the slave trade. I am tired of slave trade. We have other things about our life than the slave trade. Not that the slave trade wasn't an important part in our lifestyle, but there's an aspect of the slave trade I wish that we could get rid of. And that's the biggest lie of all. All of us walking around talking about our African brother who sold us into slavery. We're the only people who have ever been in slavery by an enemy that charge our own self with the slavery and can't support it. Everybody you hear walking around with this damn nonsense about Africans selling his brother in slavery can't give you the name of the king, can't give you the name of the country or the period of time in which this took place. So I don't want to be another one to be added to this nonsense. I go to the Nile Valley because it is the foundation of man's society. And it is something that you must know. Many of you must have come from church today, the Christian church. Many of you just yesterday came from the Hebrew church, call it Hebrew Israelite or whatever Israelite you want to call it. Many of you went to the Muslim mosque Friday night. But none of you know that all of them are nothing but poor copy of what came from the Nile Valley. I say this and I'm going to make it clear, since you may have misunderstood me. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Hebrew, Israelite, whatever height you want to be, you're nothing but a poor copy of what your African ancestors did along the Nile. And that's why I carry people along the Nile. It makes no difference for me if you're an Arab. If you're an Arab jihad slave, mentally or physically. If you're a Muslim slave, if your master is an Arab, or your master, if you're a Christian slave, and your master is a European, or your master is any other form of Asian, an African who is enslaved to a master from another group is still as enslaved as the other. You can't tell me because you're Islamic, you're less enslaved than a Christian or a Hebrew. I got rid of the one that I was brought up in, Judaism. Got rid of it quick and not quick enough. And I have to tell the rabbi on the TV that. So those of you who think that by being Muslim you're somebody special, or by being Christian you're somebody special, or by being Hebrew Israelite you're somebody, you're just jiving yourself. A slave, an African slave for any ism other than Africa, it's strange that when you want to quit one group of European thing or one group of Arab thing, you get another one. You jump from the pot to the pot to the fire and believe it's an escape. But let us deal with it. First of all, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam believe in a world that started with two people called Adam and Eve. That's just yesterday. It is like saying that you had a mother and a father, but you had no grandmother and no grandfather. So when you're talking about Adam and Eve, you're talking about something just 2 days ago. You say that Adam and Eve, the world, is only 6,000 years old. Well, I go to graves. I go to graves. Triple that in age. 15, 18,000 years the grave been there. I go to tombs all